can do anything you want. I ain't got no problem with it. I promise you that shit.
Listen to the words. Garbage, a joke, clown acts, pisses me off. No, come find me. No, come find me. Listen to the words. Come find me. Garbage, a joke, clown acts, pisses me off.
I ain't a hard guy to find. I promise you that shit.
Listen to the words. Garbage, a joke, clown acts, pisses me. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Tuesday night, and we're coming to you live, which means we've got NBR. That's right, nothing but rants, the show where I bring you topics that I'm oddly passionate about, and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. Normally, we give you an opening kick. We give you an opening rant. We ain't got one of those tonight. We got a loaded show otherwise, though. We're going to talk about some battleground spots that still remain in the spring, give you a little bit of intel on who might be winning those battleground positions at the University of Georgia this spring. We got some questions that have still been, to this point, left unanswered through 2/3 of spring practice. They got 5 practices left. They're allotted 15 and a scrimmage, hence 2/3, right? 10 down, 5 to go up there at the University of Georgia for the 2022 spring calendar. I'm going to bring you a general concern, a genuine rather, concern that I have about Georgia's recruiting moving forward based off what they had been doing in previous regimes and in previous times. We will bring you that. I don't have a ton of concerns ever under Kirby Smart when it comes to recruiting. I've found something. I cover a lot of this stuff. We write a lot of recruiting stuff, right? More and more I talk about it, the more and more I evaluate it, the more and more I put together my big board for this 2023 class, the more and more I see something that is not necessarily a glaring concern, but it's something worth note. It's something worth to talk about, and we are going to hit on it tonight. And we're going to open tonight's show, believe it or not, with a segment that we typically close with, and that's right, it's No Strabizis. I don't know how you guys feel about our famous segment around here, No Strabizis, where, you know, I bring you something and I say, hey, look, this is going to happen. Watch. A couple months from now, people are going to be talking about this like the Bo Nix, right? Told you, people are going to be buying that Bo Nix come September. They're going to do the thing about the history and this guy's played against this team before and yada, 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 right? So we open with No Strabizis tonight, and I get a question, okay? A question quite often. And it's not that it frustrates me, because it doesn't, right? I mean, I get asked a tons of questions all the time. We should, right? As I'm messing with all of my daggum windows. One question I get more than all the rest, right? Hey, Brooks, who's Georgia going to add in the portal, right? Who is Georgia going to be active in the portal? Can they go add some additions, right? Hey, they might need a wide receiver. They might need another edge rusher. They might need another linebacker, real young there. Is Georgia going to do anything in the portal? Are they going to be active? Right? I get that out all the time. So let's break out a little No Strabizis. Let's try to predict what's going to happen in the portal. Let's try to predict the portal, right? I can tell you right now, Georgia's going to be extremely, extremely active in the portal, but not necessarily in a way that you might have been conditionalized to believe, right? Not in the way that you might think, hey, Georgia just stacks and racks talent, right? That might happen. It may happen. But first, something has to happen in the portal by way of the University of Georgia. There's been a ton of roster turnover this offseason for Georgia, right? You got 18 early enrollees on campus right now going through their first spring practice. You got 11 more coming this summer, right? You got 11 more coming this summer. That's 29 in the 2022 class. You've had 7 portal entries already, right? 7 guys already put their names into the NCAA transfer portal. Actually make it 8. Owen Condon on his way there now, right? You've had 16 guys involved in your pro day, 16 guys off to the NFL. There's some walk-ons in and out of there that have moved off of the roster as well through general graduation. A ton of turnover. But look, you ain't got to be no genius to sit here and count the numbers up to realize that they're slightly over 85 as we currently sit right here, April 5th, right? I mean, just the general numbers, right? You got 29 coming in. You've only had 24 coming out. That's a discrepancy, right? That's a delta of at least 4. We're going to get into the real numbers here in a little bit. plus or minus a few, because we don't know exactly what's going on with their money. We're not pocket watching, but the 85 is 85, right? We'll get to a general consensus of actually where they are first. But do you need another edge? Do you need another star? Do you need another safety? Do you need another wide receiver? Yes, to all of those questions. You need better players, or at least more experienced players, to fill some holes, right? That's what Kirby Smart's talked about the portal being for this program for a long time, right? We're here to fill holes. Well, let's just count them up, right? Because there's not much capital left to fill these holes with. Okay, 2022, right? We told you 29 guys in that class. Signed 23 guys in the class of 2021. That's including the NCAA transfer portal. 2 of those guys are no longer on the roster. That's a net delta of 21. We'll add all these up for you. I wish I had graphics. I don't. We're not that high quality of a broadcast. We might one day be. In 2020, you signed 29 guys, but believe it or not, 9 of those guys are already off the roster, right? They're already gone. The Major Burns of the world, all those guys already, the Darren Branch is gone, right? Off the roster. 2019, he signed 26 guys, 11 of those guys are already off the roster. It's a net delta of 15. You still got 3 guys on the roster, believe it or not, from the signing class of 2018, and 2 guys from the signing class of 2017. Add that all up, that's 90 scholarships just on the classes alone, right? Just on the classes alone. That's including transfer exits and NFL exits, right there, right? And that's not to include guys like Dan Jackson who have earned scholarships in the time being, right? We don't know how many of those situations there actually are on this roster. Does Jared Zirkle have a scholarship that gray-shirted out of high school? These types of things will determine ultimately your number. I tell you all that to tell you this. It's fitting to get real business-like in Athens, I would imagine. It already is. They do their competing stuff, but we're talking about some hard-nosed, cutthroat business. Because if Kirby Smart does want an additional edge rusher, if he does want to go get what Jermaine Johnson was for Florida State last year, guy come in, get 12 sacks, add in as a defensive end at a spot that we're young at, or add in at a spot like Sam that Robert Beal might be a little inexperienced at, right? If he's going to do that, he's going to have to get real business-like in his approach, which means there are going to be conversations this spring that a lot of college football fans used to not be comfortable with, which is a coach coming to a young man's locker and saying, "Hey, son, come on, we gotta go have a coach. We gotta go have a talk with coach." And the talk's gonna be, "Hey, son, look, you've been here 3.5 years. We waited it out. You know, you've already got your degree. You graduate this May. I think it might be time to go seek some employment elsewhere, right? I think it might be time to go seek some opportunity elsewhere." A nice little way of tapping them on the butt and saying, "We'll see." So if you want me to predict the portal, if you want me to talk about what's going to happen in terms of activity on behalf of Georgia in the NCAA portal, no, it's going to be much more out than in, okay? Because that's what the numbers say it has to be. Because the NCAA is allowing you to be over that 85 threshold now during the spring, but come August, you got to get back up underneath it, which means there's going to have to be some fat trimmed, okay? And I ain't talking about my weight loss. We're talking about scholarships being pulled, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't understand the coded message there, that's what we're talking about. We have reached a level of college football where scholarships getting pulled, okay? So as young men are making business decisions, understand that, you know, it's because businesses are making business decisions, all right? So that's kind of nostra business. I promise you right now, you're going to see high levels of activity from Georgia in the portal. Okay, guys leaving, and maybe guys that you're not necessarily. I'm not going to say miss. You're going to miss every one of them when they leave because they're Georgia Bulldogs, and that's how you guys are as a fan base. But are you going to miss them in terms of playing time? I don't know if any of those guys are going to happen. Right, we're going to talk about some of them at these battleground spots. Right, but you are absolutely 100% pushed up and over the number if you just, again, do simple math based off of the classes. The fact that, you know, you've got 2 guys still on this roster from the 2017 signing class. I believe it's William Poole and maybe Kieris Jackson. Maybe Kieris Jackson was a 2018 guy, but there are several, you know, 5 guys on this roster that are redshirt seniors and beyond, some 6-year senior guys. I believe a guy like Dominic Blaylock could get 7 if he really wanted to, right? Because he could technically take a medical, a traditional red shirt, and the additional year the NCAA is giving him. He could play till he's 28 years old in college football, right? I mean, all jokes aside, I don't know if that's what it's going to be, but it could be. If he really, really wanted to, it could be. So that, I mean, it's all fine and dandy. The NCAA did what they did a long time ago. And I was sitting up in that little studio with that corny little blue backdrop, and I told you, to hell with the NCAA for doing the easy thing, right? To hell with the NCAA for just saying, yeah, everybody gets additional years of scholarships, because trickle-down effects happen. I mean, study business. I mean, the trickle-down effect in business is a real thing, right? A ball or a rock starts rolling down the hill, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger down the hill, right? So when you add additional years of scholarships to everybody in college, we ain't out here giving everybody in high school additional years of scholarships, Bubba. So ain't nobody, or years of eligibility in high school, ain't nobody stepping back down. All you're doing is compressing an additional year, an additional 4 years, technically, of football players into a year where you're normally only having 5. It's just way, way, way too much of a condensation of the rosters without adding additional years of scholarships, because they know, again, trickle-down effect. They check it on the back end when it's going to cost them money. If I give everybody an additional 7 scholarships, right, at the University of Georgia, what's that? 7 times, I think it's $30,000 to go there, maybe in-state, whatever it is. So that's $210,000. Right. Well, it also has to be $210,000 on the woman's side because of Title IX restrictions, right? Or not restrictions, but rules. So if I give 9 here, I got to give 9 there, right? You follow me? It's fine and dandy at Georgia. They can stroke that check. At UNC Charlotte, maybe not, right? So that's the way they're looking at this. They're not going to give everybody additional years or additional room for scholarships. They're just going to give players additional years of eligibility, which means if you want to occupy that additional year of eligibility, Latavius Burnett, you might have to do it somewhere else. Business, right? That's what's going to be happening in a couple of weeks. Everybody's going to be freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, they had 5 guys enter the portal in 45 minutes, Brooks. What the heck's going on? I'm like, I told you. It's addition by subtraction, right? It's addition by subtraction. You got to get up underneath that number and way up underneath that number if you actually want to go add guys that may be able to get onto the field this year for you in 2022. Now, we open the show with not alarms, okay? I'm not an alarmist. I'm not here to freak you out. I'm just I don't know why that came out real deep. I'm not here to freak you out, okay? I'm just here to study, take a look, read the tea leaves, as we talk about on this program all the time. Look at the tape, grind the film, talk to as many people as I can, right? Build as many relationships as I can, study as much information, collect as many data points as I possibly can for you, the viewer. That's what I'm here for, okay? But sometimes these opinions can't be formulated immediately. Sometimes you got to let them breathe, right? You got to give them some time to actually create impact over time, right? Time creates both perception and perspective, right? It creates the most accurate perception because you can collect as much data as possible. You can collect as much facts as possible. And it adds a newfound perspective as time elapses, right? As time grows, we learn more and more. Our perspective changes and our perception of that reality now changes, right? Well, we've had about 2.5 years now, okay, about 30 months. Yeah, exactly 30 months since Sam Pittman headed off to Arkansas to be the head coach for the Razorbacks. And you didn't see the impact immediately, right? Georgia goes on to win the national title. That's all fine and good. But he did it with a lot of these guys Kirby did it with a lot of guys that Sam Pittman recruited, as you would imagine, right? There wasn't that much time that had elapsed between his departure and their ultimate winning of a national title. But let me tell you something. Sam Pittman threw 5 classes that I give him not sole credit for, but a lot of credit for. 4 classes, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Those are the 4 classes that Sam Pittman, in my opinion, gets 99.9% of the responsibility for. Those were his classes, right? The 2020 class that he dipped out on in December 7th, like right before National Signing Day, they were wrapped up. Half of them were already committed. So Luke came in. It was just about finishing the job. But here's what I found today when I went out and grinded the data points. Okay. Isaiah Wilson, 99.04 overall rating. The overall rating is the number that I'm about to give you. So I'm about to speed this up, rattle them off for you, right? Thomas, 97.91. DeMarcus Hayes, a transfer, 89.50. Justin Schaefer, the lowest ranked player in the class, 88.28. 2018 backs it up. 2 5-stars. Jamari Sawyer, 99.56. Cade Mays, 98.69 overall. Trey Hill, about as high as a ranked 4-star as you possibly can get, 96.92. Warren Erickson, the best in-state player outside of Jamari Sawyer here in the state of Georgia, and Trey Hill, 96.70. Lock them up, bring them in. Owen Condon, lowest ranked player in the class, right? 6'7" tackle. Good enough to start is second year at Georgia as a redshirt freshman at right tackle. Ultimately loses the job. That's beside the point, okay? Webb, 98.77. Xavier Truss, 91.58. Warren McClendon, 91.31. You get it, okay? Through 4 classes, Sam Pittman averaged a ranking on 24/7 of an average of 94.61 over 18 commits. And look at the names that were ranked low, right? The project children that he took. The guys in every class that, oh, man, he ain't like the other ones, right? Justin Schaefer, 2-year starter for him, baller. Going to play on Sundays. Warren Erickson, y'all tell me that we've been trying to, y'all been trying to replace that joker for a fat minute. He's still balling out. He's still fighting for his life up in there. Pretty daggum good player. How about Warren McClendon, lowest ranked player in the 2019 class, Sunday guy, going to start 3 years at Georgia. He was a project player out of Brunswick, right? Nope. Sam Pittman saw something the rest of the industry didn't see. Devin Willock, 85.73, the lowest ranked player that Sam Pittman signed, 85.73. He got a chance to start this year. He really does. So you already knew this, right? You knew Sam Pittman was out here balling on that trail. Yes, sir. You knew it, right? Everyone knew it. Ain't hard to tell. He was out there balling. And I've been one on this program to tell you over and over and over again that Power G means something on that recruiting trail. Just about any joker can walk into a living room with a Power G on their chest and say, come play for Georgia. Come play for Kirby Smart, right? A lot of people can do that, but they can't do it at Sam Pittman's level, and we've got proof now, okay? Amarius Mims, I mean, I would give 40% of that to Sam Pittman, 60% of that to Matt Luke. Matt Luke had to work, but Amarius Mims was on the map when he was a 6'7" freshman at Bleckley County, okay? Sam Pittman had been putting in work there. We can give him some credit there, right? But this is his first true class in 2021. And check it out. Amarius Mims, in-state, hard to lose that guy. Micah Morris, in-state, really, really hard to lose that guy. Dylan Fairchild, in-state, really, really hard to lose that guy. And he took a stab at Jared Wilson, 88.56, right? His average in his first class was 95.23. Kept par with Sam Pittman. Really did a good job of rounding out his first full class. And then we get to 2022, and here's where I'm not here to sound alarms, but here's where problems start to arise. Because you guys know I'm not one of these ranking dudes, but I agree with every bit of one of these evaluations. I'm not even going to lie. I did my research. I read the profiles on them. I was checking to see who the scout was over at 24/7 that was help putting together these composites. They hit the nail on the head with a lot of these guys. They know what they're talking about. I don't look anything on this rankings and say, that guy's a little better than he was ranked. No. Okay, in 2022, you sign Ernest Green, who is looking to be a dog. Okay, that guy's looking to be a baller. Aluba, Jacob Hood, Griffin Scroggs, Drew Bobo. All of those guys, in my opinion, outside of Ernest Green, are what we call projects, right? All of those guys would be the quote-unquote project guy in a Sam Pittman class. Okay, all 4 of those guys are ranked lower than all but one, Devin Willock, okay, in the Sam Pittman era. So here's what I'm telling you. Though the average dropped from 94.01 under Sam Pittman to now 89.92, okay, you are getting worse in terms of profile of recruit. And the reason I found this, the reason this popped up in my head and on my notes here for NBR to bring to your ears was because I'll tell you right now, I've done my research on the 2023 class, and I'm not here to bash on any specific players or tell you what I feel about any specific players until we bring you the tape and show you why I feel the way it is that I do. But I put together my offensive line board, and I don't know how many of those guys that Georgia gets. I'm going to be honest with you. In 2023, they are a little bit behind. Obviously, they reset the regime in the middle of the class. So let's say it's a decent class, right? A halfway on par with last year's class, which right now it's not even tracking to do so. I'm not here to be an alarmist, just telling you it's not tracking to do so. So let's say you have another slightly above average class for the University of Georgia. That's 2 in a row. That's how you look up in 2 years and go, Clemson, damn, we can't block nobody. It happens like that, okay, in college football. It happens like that. If you don't continue to reload inside the trenches, Clemson, you will get walked through all season. It doesn't matter how good or big your quarterback is. If his feet are always people around him, if the trees are constantly falling in the forest, he ain't going to be able to get the ball through him, okay? So, again, not here to freak you out, just here to say, Stacey Searles, it was on a downtick, okay? Georgia was doing this in offensive line recruiting for a long time, and it's been doing this, okay? It's been doing this for just a slight minute, okay? So things need to get fixed and need to get fixed quickly because, again, you look up, right? You get guys like Broderick Jones who might really only start for you for one full year before he's an NFL draft pick. Can you imagine that, right? And we'll get to some more of these battleground spots where we're going to talk about some more guys, but you got guys like Broderick Jones that you're really only going to get to enjoy for 16 games, and then he's gone in a blink of an eye, okay? And then, hey, who's up next? What we got next? Well, we got, we signed 4 in-state guys every single year, and the in-state crop was kind of and we couldn't quite get out, and, we didn't really land the guys out of state that we wanted, and right? And the next thing you know, again, Clemson, the whole regime fell because it couldn't block nobody. Just something you need to watch very, very closely. We got to show him some love because he's a Patreon guy right now. You want to know what the key success to this guy, the Roll Tide guys? Okay, you want to know what the key to success is? It's the trenches. It's something we're going to talk about here in a second with this defensive line from Georgia. When you lose 3 first-round draft picks, everybody knows you lost really, really talented players. It's not an excuse at Alabama not to go contend for another title. And if that's what you want to be, University of Georgia fans, then these discussions about, hey, we're slipping here, they need to be paid attention to because in 18 months, they might rear their ugly head, right? You might get to Auburn and not be able to block nobody and then have to pull a game plan out your behind in the SEC championship game just to keep Bryce Young clean. Okay, so those, give them credit, they did it. My God, what a game plan. But yeah, that's why the regime keeps rolling out there because they got big boys. Go watch SEC football. And your coach has been telling you for years, whoever wins the line of scrimmage, and you think it's coach speak. And I thought it was coach speak forever until you watch SEC football up close and personal, and you're like, nah, he's right. That team over there pushed that team around today, so that team won. Okay, both sides of the line of scrimmage. If you deteriorate there, you deteriorate everywhere. Okay, so let's get it back rolling in the right direction. Okay, get it back rolling in the right direction. Again, not here sounding alarms, just telling you it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good right now. If we were to rank your offensive line class versus even a guys like Penn State's got some dudes right now in 2023 that they already locked up, okay? Some real ballers up there in that Midwest area, okay? So there's a lot of good talents being put around some other quarterbacks and some other running backs across the country. And I'm not saying the 2 you got now are really good football players. It needs to keep rolling, okay? The ground needs to keep getting made up in other recruitments, big, massive recruitments. Right now, I don't see the big boys because they're not here. Georgia's been signing 5-star offensive linemen that live here. There's not one right now, okay? I don't believe, in my opinion, the best tackle in the state of Georgia is Shams, okay, over there, Denmark. Really, really talented football player. Extremely, extremely high ceiling. Georgia's doing well, okay? But he's like a high 4-star, in my opinion, or a, top 130 player in the state, in the nation, okay? There's better tackles across the country. They need to start making more ground with those guys. All right, speaking of making ground, Gramco. So it's a terrible transition, but we're going to hit it for him anyways. Guys, did you guys know, I know you can't believe this. I don't even know how you would think about it. I don't even know how you would know. It's not like we've ever said it on this program. But did you know that Gramco is veteran-owned? I mean, believe it or not, veteran-owned and filled with nothing but Georgia supporters there in that ownership. TheGramco.com. And guess what, guys? They got some new fire edibles coming out over there. Some CBD, some Delta 8 edibles, rather. Some Delta 8 gummies, some new flavors, and they're about to put 10 more gummies per package free of charge. You know why? Because they're Gramco, baby. They just be doing it like that. Gramco.com. Use promo code Brooks25. You'll get 25% off on all of your purchases. appreciate those guys over there, man. We ain't never had, like, we've been doing this YouTube channel for, I think we started in September of 2020. Never really had like a real partner, like a real sponsor. I mean, we got SI, but they're not affiliated here. You know, we might mention SI every once in a while here, but this is us, right? This is you guys. This is y'all's family, your product. We never really had a partner until Gramco. So if y'all will, we can keep them around. We can start doing cool stuff. We can continue to do cool stuff. We continue to make more and more content if you support those who support us. Thegramco.com. Again, promo code Brooks25 on all your purchases. All right, let's talk about these battleground spots, okay? Battleground spots. What's that mean? What you think it means? There's a battle going on the ground at these certain spots, okay? We'll start offensively, and then we'll move over to the defense, okay? Now, this ain't no battleground spot because there's a true battle here. I'm just going to give you some intel on what's actually happening, okay? So, as you know, you might not know. Let's not assume you know. Let's give you the rundown. Brock Bowers, out. Labrum surgery, right? Darnell Washington, out. Lower leg, foot injury, right? Out for the spring. Rylan Godey, not breaking news here, out for the spring, okay? So, who's that leave? That leaves Rick Gilbert, right? Rick Gilbert, rather. Oscar Dill, and Brett Seether. Now, here's the funny thing. There is this well-known theory in college football. Coaches will tell you this all the time. The fastest way onto the field is to know the playbook. If you know the playbook, you can get on the field. They don't have to worry about you busting assignments. I can deal with you getting your doors blown off. What I can't deal with is you opening the doors and letting them run through the house, okay? We can't have that, right? So if you know the playbook and others don't, you're going to get onto the field. So believe it or not, there ain't no battle here going on right now. Brett Seether is your starting tight end at the University of Georgia. You believe that? Brett Seether, shouts to the Florida native. Brett Seether is your starting tight end right now, running with the ones at the University of Georgia in practice. Now, he's getting spelled by Rick and Oscar getting in some reps there, as everyone else is shuffling up and down the depth charts. But Brett Seether, not bad, right? He's like the Blaine Gabbert of Georgia tight ends. You know, it gets you by. He's not bad. No, he's not terrible, right? But he's not like, ooh, Pat Mahomes. No, he's like Brett Seether. You know what I'm saying? It's like on the pedestal of tight ends, he's like, meh. You know, good football player, number one tight end right now at the University of Georgia. I don't know if it'll stay that way throughout the next 5 practices. But yeah, the dude knows the playbook, so the dude gets on the field. It's not an easy one to learn at the University of Georgia, believe it or not. There's a lot going on up there. I do read super chats. We got 3 subs now. I think we got 9 earlier, or $10 from Robert earlier, and another 20 here. We got 3 super chats now. I just get in a groove on these takes, man, and we keep rolling. So yeah, we got 3 free subs over on Patreon. Hit me up in the DMs over on Twitter. We'll get you taken care of. Okay, first come, first serve, as you guys know. Another battleground spot up there at Georgia this spring. Offensive guard. Kirby talked about it today. Or I think it was maybe a couple of days ago, but nonetheless, talked about just how many guys he's got competing basically for 2 spots, right? I mean, you got Xavier Truss and Micah Morris kind of battling it out over there at left guard. All these are interchangeable, by the way. You got Xavier Truss, Micah Morris battling it out over there at left guard, with Jared Wilson taking some reps over there as well. Warren Erickson trying to hold off Devin Whitlock and the rest of the bunch over there at right guard, with Dylan Fairchild, the state championship wrestler in that 2021 class, mixing it up at right guard as well. Look, I think the 4 of them are really competing for 2 spots. And when I say the 4 of them, I'm talking about Truss, Morris, Erickson, and Whitlock. I think those 4 guys are really competing for 2 spots. But here's the deal, and here's why it's kind of an unanswerable question this spring for the University of Georgia. I don't really think any of this matters until Tate Ratledge gets healthy. I don't know if you guys were over on Patreon last spring and last summer when he was healthy, dominating and inserting his way into a starting lineup. But, dude, that's an NFL guy, okay? That's an NFL guy. I had one offensive line coach that I was talking to that had a chance to, observe practice back when Tate was healthy, and was just saying, like, when he puts his hands on people, it literally sounds different. You ever go out to a baseball field and watch the really, really good baseball player and just listen to the bat, right? The pop sounds different. Same thing with explosive hands. If I just can listen to them and hear them hit a lot harder and a lot more violent than everybody else, You got dude hands, right? You got brick for hands. That's what Tate Ratledge has got with an extremely athletic base at 6'7", 335-ish pounds, right? The question is, how healthy is he going to be when he gets back? But again, we can't answer that right now. It's still a battleground spot because damn, if there ain't some wars going on in there at guard this spring. Another spot, look, man, I think if you're listening and if you're paying attention and if you're watching the film from the end of last season, I think it's clear that Georgia knows who their X is and who their Z is, right? Their X is, and for layman's terms, their X in years past was George Pickens. Their Z was Jermaine Burton. And I think it's clear as absolute day that the X this year is going to be A.D. Mitchell, and the Z, as it was at the end of last year, is going to be Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey came to Georgia and they thought, hey, this guy might one day help us on special teams. We might be able to get some work out of him in the slot, using him as a crosser, things like that. And then all of a sudden they start finding out, oh, crap, we get the ball in this guy's hands and he starts making stuff happen. So they get him on the field. Not only that, he works his ever-loving backside off. He's the guy now at Z. I believe so, based off everything that I've been hearing as well. So the question to me now becomes, because you travel 8 receivers, right? You travel 8 receivers. The big discussion is who's going to make the bus, the travel bus, right? Who goes on a road trips. That kind of tells you who's in the mix, who's going to be practicing with the ones during the week, who's going to be practicing with the travel squad, who's not going to be on scout team. And the battle right now in the spring, the battleground is 5 through 8, because I think if we sit right here, A.D. Mitchell's on the bus, going to be a guy. Ladd McConkey's on the bus, going to be a guy. Same thing for Karis Jackson, Marcus Osimi-Jacksaint, and Dominic Blaylock now that he's healthy. That's 5, okay? But how about 6, 7, and 8? Who's it going to be, right? You got Arian Smith, you got Jackson Meeks, you got Denylon Morissette, you got C.J. Smith, okay, and only one of those guys is in a black jersey right now, and that's Dominic Blaylock. The rest of them, y'all got 5 practices in a G-Day to be the next A.D. Mitchell. That's all it takes. We saw last year, right? Last year, I think it was practice like number 12, Jermaine Burton hyperextends his knee, right? Jermaine Burton hyperextends his knee. Karis Jackson has an issue, can't practice that spring, can't go during G-Day. Justin Robinson can't go during G-Day for God knows what. Okay, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, damn, A.D. Mitchell's running like a dog out there. They got that joker taking like 65 snaps today. That could very well happen for one of these other guys, okay? So, unanswerable question. We don't know if it's going to happen. There are some battlegrounds there. We're going to see who wins those 5 or 6, rather, through 8 spots on that depth chart, because it is super vital, super necessary. We got some more super subs coming in here. What's up, Paul Taylor, hitting us with the blow it up, y'all. Let's get some subs in here. That's right. We like to add to the family in an organic nature. We don't do any, sign up for $1 this month. It's all great. I honestly, between you and me, I wish we had the capability to do so, because we end up losing some money in this transaction. But I like the way this is community led, right? It's donorship from our community, and it shows an incentivized community that wants more people to come have what they have, right? Come see the promised land. Come join us in this holy trinity of Nugs and film and Discord, right? Come get some of that good stuff. And we got now 5 free subscriptions. I think our record's like 22, something absolutely insane by you guys. Shouts to you guys, mainly Robert and now Paul tonight. Robert's always out here acting wild. If I ever see Robert's wife, she's probably gonna stick me with a shank. Okay, you're killing my finances. Who are you, film guy? Let's get a defense, right? Some battlegrounds. Hey, we've talked about it on Patreon for a couple of days. Sorry, checking my text. Man, Terry Ingram Dawkins is going to push some folks, man. He's currently pushing folks right now. And where is he pushing, right? He's at that 3-tech spot where, a couple years ago it was Tyler Clark spelling folks, making plays, right? It was Devontae Wyatt. Now it's going to be Jalen Carter. But every single year, right, even when Tyler Clark was doing his thing, Devontae Wyatt would come in, spell him, make some plays, right? Give him a breather, no letdown, no drop off in performance, right? Devontae Wyatt takes over. Well, here comes Jalen Carter. No drop down, no nothing like that. No drop off when a player leaves. Actually, some would indicate that there was an improvement, right? Things like that. Well, Now Devontae Wyatt's gone and Jalen Carter's the guy. So who's going to be behind him? That's a question that not only Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins is here to kind of mix his way in, but he's doing so. He's pushing some guys out. He's chasing some heels of some guys that we're going to talk about a little bit later. Same thing, not necessarily the same thing, but everybody knows this one. It was a very similar, last offseason heading into the summer and into the fall. It was like, okay, they're getting Derion Kendrick, NFL guy, Clemson 3-year starter, all ACC. He's going to be a starter. Who's going to play beside him, right? It was, is it going to be Amir Speed? Is it going to be Keely Ringo? Is it going to be Jalen Kimber? Jalen Kimber ends up sitting with his shoulder, ends up getting surgery, has a way out. Okay, Amir Speed starts the first one. Keely Ringo ends up starting the second one, and the rest of them, right? You get an answer pretty relatively quickly last year at the cornerback spot. You got the same kind of storyline this year, right? It's, hey, we know this Keely Ringo guy's a dude, right? We know this guy's a dude. We're gonna who we gonna find next to him, right? Is it gonna be Kamari Lassiter? Is it gonna be Nyland Green? And I've done some film study here on this program. You guys know how I feel about Kamari Lassiter. I think he's Georgia's next. I'm not gonna say it's hard to say a kid's gonna win a Jim Thorpe Award, but I think this is the next great corner at Georgia. I think he's like that. From all the people that I talked to, all the film that I watched of him, because he was getting more reps as a freshman last year than any of those guys not named Keely Ringo, who's a redshirt freshman. When you watch it, when you put it all together, when you read read the tea leaves, when you talk to who you need to talk to, when you get the intel that you need, you come away with, my God, this guy is not only, that 6 foot, 185-pound corner that Derion Kendrick was. Not only does he have all of those NFL instincts that gets Derion Kendrick into the right spots at the right time that make him such a good football player while running a 4.75 that he turned out at the combine. But this is a guy that can do all those things instinctually, has all those ball skills, has all the natural ability in the world, and he's got NFL traits. Because I truly believe Kamari Lassiter is like a 4.42 guy, 4.43 guy. Right now, if you lined him up, he's a stud. Okay. The only problem is Nyland Green makes like 5 plays a game or 5 plays a practice where he might be the most athletic human being in the complex. Not even kidding. Okay. But then there's like 3 plays where he's not lined up correctly, doesn't have proper depth, and he's cleaning those things up quickly. But there's no time to waste here, man. There's no time to waste September 4th when you're busting assignments. Does that not mean that Georgia's going to rotate them? I think they do. I think they do. I think they rotate Kamari and Nyland just like they did Amir Speed and Keely Ringo last year until one of them takes over. And I eventually think that's going to be Kamari Lassiter. I promise you, though, I promise you right now, and I've said this since 2020, the fall of 2020. The day Nyland Green decides that he's going to go play safety, which I think is his true natural position, is the day that he becomes, I don't know, the next Derwin James or the next Kyle Hamilton. My God, he looks like Kyle Hamilton. 6'3", long, stretched out, covers it like a center fielder from sideline to sideline. I'm not going to say he's going to hit like Kyle Hamilton, but he might if he's allowed to gain weight. If you allow him to put it on, I just don't think he wants to. And that's unfortunate, in my opinion. Okay. But my opinion is oftentimes wrong. Another battleground spot defensively. I think Tramel Walthour is a great football player. I do. I watched him on tape last year. Does some decent things. Never in a bad spot. Doesn't make stupid boneheaded plays. Sets the edge when he needs to. Doesn't get reached. Doesn't make stupid plays. Again, executes well, but doesn't really dominate, right? Never really takes over a game, never really does anything that's like, wow. No flash plays on the record books this year for Tramel Walthour, okay? It's only a matter of time. I know Kirby keeps doing the thing, and if you're listening right now, I get it. I do. You don't want some 18-year-old kid walking around your campus thinking he's already an all-SEC player, okay? I understand. But let's be honest, okay? Come week 5, when you're 5-0, okay, and Tramel Walthour goes into a game with a banged-up hammy, all right, or a banged-up hip, and he's not 100%, you're going to throw 24 out there. You're going to play Mykel Williams. We know you are, okay, and he's going to do a damn good job, okay? I don't understand why when I get it. Some kids can't absorb it, right? But do you think Dallas Turner, do you think Nick Saban was talking about how, he wasn't ready or constantly downplaying the hype or whatever? No. It just, when it happened, it happened. He threw him out there, 12 sacks in 7 games, boom. Freshman All-American, right? I get it. I know why he's doing it. Again, if he's watching right now, I'd do the same thing. Okay, I would temper expectations. We talk about managing expectations on this program all the damn time. That don't stop me from coming out here and telling you that Michael Williams go play on this football team this year. Okay, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think it's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen as well. So excited to see how fast it happens, but it's gonna happen. All right, the other guy, that's kind of fighting, and he's kind of banged up right now per Kirby, is Tresman Marshall. Tresman Marshall, similar to Warren Erickson's, fighting for his damn life right now against a ghost. And that ghost is Smile Mondon, who's on the sideline right now with a torn labrum. He, rehabbing from surgery this offseason. He ain't got nobody really pushing him right now. Jalen Walker's there. They've also got Xavier Sorey, who's getting some reps as well, spelling Tresman since he's banged up with a knee or whatever it was Kirby mentioned today. But every great play that Tresman makes this spring is just 1 centimeter, 1 inch more on that lead that he's got over Smile Mondon. I don't think he holds it. I don't. Okay. Because, you had that trio last year, right? Where it was like, hey, 6-foot guy, 230-pound Mike linebacker, super instinctual freak that was Nakobe Dean, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, I also just described Jamon Dumas Johnson. Hey, they call him Pop. Yeah, I just described him. You got him. He's going to play this year. Probably going to start this year. Definitely going to start this year. You also had that 6'4", like avatar-looking joker named Quay Walker that ran 4.51 at the combine. Smile Mondon rolled, I believe, 11.7 in the 110 hurdles in high school. He can roll. Okay. He's going to roll 4.4, I would imagine, when he gets into the combine in a couple of years. Oh, by the way, he's 6'3.5", 230 pounds. Looks just like the guy. Okay. Can play just like the guy in space. And then you had that third linebacker, right? That was like 6'2", 230-ish pounds, maybe 6'2 3/4, almost 6'3". Real goofy looking long arms and kind of this like, right? Channing Tindall. Okay. This like long armed, decent pass rusher, really, really bursty and super, super fast and explosive in Channing Tindall. You ever seen Xavier Sorey play? Glenn Schumann tweeted the photo out he did during the combine or during the pro day where it's like, don't know how many times I'm going to get a 3 like this, or don't know how many times I'll get these guys together. That's true. But they got the trilogy. They do. It's right there. And they got that Jalen Walker guy hanging out too, which we didn't even mention. They got everything that they need at that inside backer position. The only problem, and it's something that Kirby hit on today, they got no experience. None of these guys have played meaningful downs, because how could they have? But that's fine. I mean, Channing Tindall didn't play real meaningful downs until like his junior year. Okay. And when he got in, he looked okay as a third backer. And then when he got in as a fourth backer, and then when he got in as a full-time third backer, his senior year, he was ready to rock. That's why you play Glenn Schumann higher than, more than any other inside linebackers coach I would imagine in the country. Okay. That's why you do it. The guy's great at what he does. The guy's really, really good at what he does, and he's going to take care of you. You're going to be fine. Uber talented football players, and I'm super excited to see this fall. Now, brings us to our last segment, right? Our last segment of the night. As we got the Discord popping, as we got the YouTube popping, as we got the tweets are popping. I wonder what Twitter's doing right now. Let's see. Oh, Dogs retired in the 8th. Jack Goen will take over in the bottom half of the inning. Tigers lead 4-3. Shouts out to the Diamond Dogs. Let's get back to NBR. Couple of questions left unanswered this spring, and I don't know if you're going to get answers to them. Okay. Touchy subject. We don't talk about transfer portal predictions for players, but we all know 5-stars don't be sitting for multiple seasons at a lot of programs, particularly 5-star tackles that, are projected to be first-round draft picks. Amarius Mims. Okay. Amarius Mims. Typically, these guys don't stick around. They don't. You're telling me I got to sit 2 years? Because I've told you, Warren McClendon, serious dude, right? Serious Sunday guy at right tackle. Amarius Mims repping at right tackle right now, barring some type of injury. It doesn't look to me like Amarius Mims is going to start over Warren McClendon. I'm not breaking news. I'm not telling him it's over with. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just telling you right now, it ain't shaping out like Amarius Mims is going to start this year. And you would throw up your arms like, well, that means he must be going to the portal, right? And I would say most of the time, yes. Except somehow, some way, Kirby Smart just got done doing this with Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones knew what the deal was. Broderick Jones knew he needed the years to cultivate and to grow and to learn. And here he is, national championship game. Go get your bag, son. Starting left tackle at the University of Georgia. And he's going to start 15 games, and he's probably going to go to the NFL, right? And get paid really, really well to do so. We will see just how good of a secondary recruiter Kirby Smart is, because that's the reality of where we are now in college football. When this situation arises 2 years into Amarius Mims' career at Georgia, this discussion needs to be had, right? He's getting talked to by people. I promise you right now, whoever his NIL representative is, whoever his damn agent is, right now is saying, Amarius, it's really, really hard to be a 3-and-out guy if we only start, or if we got to sit for 2 years, right? It's really, really hard to do that. We got to sit for 2 years. I guarantee you representation is giving him that talk. Kirby Smart's got to do the talk on the other end, right? And that's the unanswerable question. How good is that talk? It sounds like the talk's pretty good because they talk. I'm not saying Broderick Jones was ever on a ledge, but they kept it happy. They kept it good to go until year 3 where it was his show, right? Until year 3 where it was his bag. Will they do the same, or will they be able to do the same with Amarius Mims this year? It sounds like they're in a good spot. Sounds like he's got great morale around. Sounds like he's happy. Sounds like he's practicing hard. All that good stuff that you want to hear from a happy football player. All signs pointing to those things being true. So maybe you keep him holding on. But it is a question that you need answered, right? You need answered relatively quick within the summer. All right. Another question. Anybody seen that Warren Brinson guy? Anybody seen that Warren Brinson guy? Look, here's the deal. Warren Brinson's a super talented football player. Really, really talented. I wouldn't talk about him. I wouldn't demand expectations if I didn't think he was a super talented football player. I think Warren Brinson has a ceiling like a Tyler Clark for the University of Georgia, where it's like, oh, damn, he might be our best 3 technique in limited spurts. I think that ceiling is there. I think the possibilities are more than capable of that happening. The problem is I watched one play of Warren Brinson and I go, damn, that's a football player. And then I watched 3 plays of Warren Brinson where I'm like, damn, that's a football player? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's extremely good, low pad level, good get off. FSU just absolutely effing stuff up, okay? And then the next play, it's like pad level high, getting driven 4 yards down the field, this, and this, and this. And if you really want to be honest, if you go back and check the high school tape, I bet you'd find something similar. I bet you'd find a football player that's touch and go with effort. I bet you find a football player that's rather inconsistent in practice. If you talk to his coaches, I bet you talk to coaches that are really, 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 really frustrated with the level of inconsistency that has arisen in a young man's football game. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I watch it on tape and it makes me frustrated. Where I'm like, oh my God, 3rd round draft pick. Dude, just do it. Just keep going. Just do that next play. And then the next play, it's like, nah. Like, bro, you're out here for 15 snaps a game, dog. Maybe 15 snaps a game. Play hard. So frustrating. And here's why it's frustrating. Because for as good as Georgia's been against the run, they've had 7 or 8 really, really, really good bodies from tackle to tackle, right? Mainly guard to guard. Like when you can roll out Julian Rochester in year 4 just cause, you're doing all right when it comes to stacking defensive tackles, right? So that means this year when 99 go out, 95 and 44 out there playing, they look freaking fantastic. Those 3 dudes look like first-round draft picks. But when they come off the field, Georgia still does a really, really good job last year stopping the run, limiting explosives, not allowing holes, remaining gap discipline. Why? Well, because Tramel Walthour's in there holding it down, doing a really decent job. Zion Logg's in there balling out. Logue's in there balling out, doing his thing. We told you about that for months. Oh, and this guy named Jalen Carter, who we all think is probably the best of all of them, and they would even tell you that, is a backup for us in 2021, says a Georgia coach. Well, now you look up 8 months later, Jalen Carter now has to start. Zion Logue has to now start. And you're looking around and you're going, hey, who's going to be our Logue from last year? Who's going to be our Jalen Carter from the last 2 years? Who's going to replace these seconds and thirds reps that kept us elite when guys were getting breathers? And I'm telling you right now, there's a whole bunch of guys that are competing for one spot, right? Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins is not going to let Warren Brinson walk into the fall thinking he just got that second D tackle spot. It ain't going to happen, okay? John Jefferson figured it out. He figured it out late last year. Something happened. Body swelled up, started figuring it out, okay? Timon Mitchell, not a slouch. Looks like one on the football field. Not one. Baller. Plays really, really hard. Okay, and by the way, there's this guy named Kristen Miller coming in who I believe was the 64th overall ranked player in the SI 99. Thanks to yours truly. Could not be a higher on an evaluation than Kristen Miller, okay, for me as a D tackle in this class. I wanted to make him all like number 2 or 3 D tackle in the class. They wouldn't listen to me. I think he's that good. He's getting there this summer. Warren Brinson, he going to find you, okay? He's going to find you, and he's going to push you, and that's what you need probably. We need some more consistency out of 97 if you're that coaching staff. It's got to be frustrating. But Travion Scott, that's what they pay you for, bro. That's what they pay you for. Go make that guy play like he can every single snap. That's your job as a football coach. The last unanswerable question, or last question that hasn't been answered, rather, is can Georgia stay healthy? And I'm going to tell you right now, no, it ain't going to happen, Jack. Okay, it is not going to happen, Jack. I don't know what it is. Actually, I do know what it is. Georgia and Bama hit harder than anybody else. They do. Georgia and Bama hit harder than anybody else. But I would be very, very curious. I would be very, very curious to line up 1 through 85. Okay, all 85 scholarship guys at Georgia, put them on a scale, weigh them by position, make an average of it. Do the same for Bama's guys. I would venture to bet that you find that Alabama's guys are slightly heavier, maybe 5-10%. I would venture to bet that Georgia's football program runs a whole hell of a lot more than Bama's does, which means Bama lifts a little bit more than Georgia does because you only got so much time in a week. So what does that mean? It means their bodies are bigger. There's more muscle mass around their ligaments. There's more muscle mass surrounding the exposed ligaments, the things that end up injured, right? I'm not saying the bigger you get, the more malleable you get, the more protected you are from injuries. But when we're talking about a physical sport, okay, a physical sport like football, it does help to be big and strong. It does. Shocker. It also helps to be, really quick and fast and have endurance. All that good stuff's great on Saturdays. But when we're talking about sustaining and being able to not get hurt throughout a practice week, nobody's going to do it. It's football. I don't know if you know, but this shit is dangerous. Okay, people get hurt. It's the way it is. But 2, they hit a lot. Okay, I'm not saying I've been sent practice schedules, but I can talk football enough to where I go, hey, is this what y'all got today? Indies, one-on-ones, half line, inside run, 11-on-11 team, 3, third and goal situational football team in 2 minutes. Is that what y'all got going on? And they go, yeah, basically. Guys, that's like 2.5 hours of hitting, like running head-to-head, banging and clanging, dog. That's what they're doing all spring. They fitting to find out. Okay, they got 5 more practices to try to stay as healthy as they can. And again, I'm telling you right now, I ain't hoping for injury. I'm just telling you, be prepared. Okay, be prepared. Just like you should be prepared in August for somebody to get hurt. Okay, football comes with injuries. That's the way of life. My daddy used to say, and we'll close it on this. My daddy used to say, actually, I got one question for the audience, and I want all of your opinions on this. My daddy used to say injuries are as much a part of football as first downs and turnovers. I don't know who he stole it from because I found as I get older and read more that all my male figures, most of them are coaches or my dad. They all read sports books, so they all steal the same stuff from everybody. All the coaches' cliches, they're all the same. But here's my question for you, and I'll leave you with this, okay? What in the hell's the gym etiquette on noise, on what you can make, okay? And here's what I mean by this. My Beats, my headphones, my gym headphones, we all got gym headphones. I like the big ones that cover my ears. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing when I'm in there. This is part of the reason why, okay? What is the rule? Because I'm walking through the gym and I don't have my headphones because they're a little bit, they only got a little bit of juice left, and I was trying to save them for the core lifts. Long story. Anyways, I'm walking by, dude's doing shoulder presses, and he lets out 3 like real loud, like up, up, up. And then he lets out a mofo, like get them up. And we're in like a little family gym. That's not allowed, right? Am I rude for looking at him kind of funny? Like, hey, bro, I mean, it was only 2 plays. Well, like we was out here banging him like that. Am I rude or is he rude? I think he's definitely rude. Also, do you tell something to him? Do you look at him? I want y'all's opinion. Gym etiquette is a real thing. I kind of want some answers here because I don't think you're allowed to just be out here making audible, like loud noises. Like I'm good for a little like one of those little sounds like like you're trying to push out a big poop or like a big turd or something. Like don't be out here screaming. Okay. And definitely don't be out here cussing in the gym. I mean, that's just me. And that's just our show. If you could, please hit that like button on your way out. Hit that subscribe button on your way out. Tell your friends if you like what we're doing. If you want to be a part of a community that's, willing to donate about $50 tonight, we got 5 free ones for you. Come get them. Hop in them DMs at Brooks Austin SI on Twitter, or you can hit up my email. Drop a comment in the YouTube section. We will get to you first come, first serve on those. We will be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock on Twitter Spaces at Can't Guard Jake. Me and the homie going to chop it up a little bit over there in Twitter Spaces. Would love to have all of you guys there. And we'd also love to have you over on Patreon, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. For me, for myself, for the Film Guy family, for Gramco, the veteran-owned and supported Delta 8 and CBD company. We'll see you next time.